So this is the same thing as finding slope from a graph. You're still going to come up with a slope. So think about a graph. Which axis would be the rise? The X or the Y? The Y. So what I like to do is always put right in front of the Y that whatever happens, this is going to be my rise. And then that means that the X has to be your run. Now, this is real important. Slope is actually means, we use the letter M for slope. It actually means rise over run. One of the things that you need to be careful about, look at the table. It's upside down, right? So make sure that you realize, like, oh, I'm going to have to flip that over for it to be the correct slope. So finding slope from a table is not really that hard. What do you got to do to go from 1 to 3? It's going to be add or subtract. So what do you got to do to 1 to make it go to 3? You're going to add 2, right? So put plus 2. What do you got to do to get from 2 to 10? Plus 8. The rise is what? It's 8. So the rise is 8. And the run is 2. This is pretty important here. We have to reduce. The rest of the stuff on the table doesn't matter because I'll show you in just a second. But it's going to be 4 over 1. And then, so look what happens. What do you got to do to 3 to get to 5? Add 2. What do you got to do to 5 to get to 7? Add 2. What do you got to do to 10 to get to 18? What do you got to do to 18 to get to 26? Add 8. So see how it's a pattern? That's what slope is. It's a consistent pattern. You're constantly changing the same amount. So it goes plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 8, plus 8, plus 8. So that's what your slope is. So right here in this box, you're going to type in 4 over 1. Now, it says only numerical values are accepted. What is 4 over 1? Just the number 4. So you can type in 4. On your quiz, you can type in 4 over 1. I've changed it. So, but on this particular one, it only lets you type in 4 over 1. So now you'll notice that this one's multiple choice. Again, it's the same thing. This is the rise. This is the run. Tables are always listed X on top, Y on bottom. And you got to flip them over for the slope. So what do I got to do to 1 to get to 4?
3.
Add 3. What do I got to do to 8? Subtract 2. So what goes on top? The 2, the negative 2, right? What goes on bottom? 3. So this slope of this is negative 2 over 3. So we would select this one here. Looking at question number 3, what do you got to do from here to here?
4.
Yeah, you're going to add. It's going to be add 5. Listen, if it's negatives and stuff and you're struggling there, just go to a calculator and do negative 3 or do 2 minus negative 3. But you could also check right here if you're like, oh, well, 2 to 7 is plus 5. It should be the same. What do I got to do to 0 to get to 2? Add 2. So the rise is? And the run is? 5. So this is 2 over 5, which is right there. Number 4. It says, what do I got to do to negative 6 to get to negative 2? You're not going to subtract. You're going to add 4. And you can double check by going down here. What do you got to do to 2 to 6? It's going to be add 4 as well. 8 to 5? Subtract 3. So this rise is Not just 3,
Okay.
negative 3. And then the 4 goes on the bottom. So this is negative 3 over 4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ain't that 205 negative 205?
Number what?
Number 3. Ain't that negative 205? It's 205.
It's just 2 over 5.
Yeah,